have many psychiatrists worried.
You are looking at a scene from a video cassette called Faces of Death. The title more or less sums up the content.
A lot of killings and a lot of blood all over the place.
You didn't like it?
No.
But apparently a lot of people do. Faces of Death is one of the hottest rentals at video cassette outlets.
My brother saw it. He just likes these horror movies. He's just tired of seeing these special effects. He thought he wanted to check out something that was for real. And he enjoyed it.
The Faces of Death tapes, there are 3 different versions, are basically a compilation of death scenes, both human and animal, and much of what is shown is real. These executions, for instance, were supposedly filmed after a coup in Liberia. Faces of Death features everything from autopsies to fatal stunts. What we're showing you is only the least offensive footage. The company that distributes the cassette has a simple explanation for its blockbuster success.
Because it's unusual.
The distributor freely admits that some of the more unusual clips are reenactments, but sometimes it's hard to tell.
People eating guts and stuff. They showed a bear. A man went to see a bear, and he had like a film trying to take it. This girl was throwing food at him, and the bear just ripped, it just ripped him to shreds.
Both the bear scene and the people eating monkey brains were reenactments. The brains were actually hamburger meat. Still, it is disturbing stuff. You couldn't watch it all?
Not the end of it, no. I got a little nauseous.
And neither can some psychiatrists.
I'm concerned about the fact that it may make younger kids terrified. What it may do to older children is to desensitize them.
The distributors counter by saying this is not meant to be kids' stuff.
There are explicit warnings on there that they shouldn't be watched by delicate people or children.
Warnings or not, the tapes are readily available at video cassette stores.
I don't think kids should watch it like young
You're
people.
a kid.
Well, I'm like a teenager.
Footage in there which is just not suitable. Not even for adults, I think. Not normal ones, anyway.
Still, what started as a cult cassette has attracted a mass market. Jeannie Moe, CNN, New York.
Headline Sports is next.
How much did Oliver North make from the Iran arms sales?
Not one penny.
Perhaps not, but the North Star is rising, and there are plenty of others rushing to cash in on it before it falls. After many months of famine, the feast of information Oliver North has provided on Capitol Hill is proving too good to pass up. So good, in fact, that the complete, unedited transcript of North's testimony is about to come out in paperback. Watching just 3 days of his story on TV convinced editors at Pocket Books to print it.
Simply the fact that he had all of us excited, and clearly was becoming clear from other media coverage that all of America was fascinated by this man.
The Ollie mania unleashed across the land so far has translated into orders for about 500,000 copies of the new paperback.
Sales. Hi, Gavin, how you doing? Yeah, oh yeah, we're taking orders still.
With the book due out this weekend, the people at Pocket Books are in high gear. When the Tower Commission report into the Iran-Contra affair was published in paperback earlier this year, it was a bestseller for 5 weeks. At $5.95 a copy, would people read the North Chronicles? Most people we asked said they would.
Yeah. I'm very interested in American stories.
Although some were cynical.
It's just made to seem like it's okay and that you can do anything. The thing is, don't get caught. But if you do get caught, make sure that a book or a movie comes out about it and you can be famous.
I don't know if I'd buy it and read it. I mean, the television was great entertainment.
In case anybody missed North's televised testimony, MPI, a Chicago home video company, is producing a 90-minute version of the proceedings. At $19.95 a copy, the tape will be out at the end of the month.
We believe that video can be a lot more than just movies, and that people want to own a piece of history.
If Oliver North decides to cash in on his role in history, agents and publishers say that right now he could name his own price. Christiana Monfort, CNN, New York.
And still to come on CNN's Prime News, Kansas City Royals outfield.
Million Americans will pay $20 for their own 90-minute copy of the most riveting parts of North's testimony.
And if the commander-in-chief tells this lieutenant colonel to go stand in the corner and sit on his head, I will do so.
In my opinion, it is a prescription for anarchy in a democratic society.
Well, you asked Joseph Coors for $65,000 for a moral airplane, didn't you?
We knew that this was a man that was capturing something very special in the American people. he had passion that the American people loved, and that is very marketable.
Marketable indeed. Ollie Mania is gaining strength. The words of Colonel North are in New York bookstores, and they're being shipped around the country. 753 pages, 775,000 copies.
Based on what we've seen in the first couple of hours on sale in most places, it's one of the best-selling books in the marketplace in any format.
I will wrap it very pretty and give it to my granddaughter because this is history.
In Tulsa, Oklahoma, Great American Products is a small shop devoted only to Ollie memorabilia. But all across America, entrepreneurs are claiming Colonel North as their kind of person.
He is what America's all about. He is a phenomenal piece of human being.
And in the best spirit of we are, or would like to be what we eat, there's California's Ollie Burger, served up with shredded lettuce, shredded cheese, and of course, topped with an American flag. Jerry King, ABC News, Chicago.
You think of another country where that had happened? When we returned, the country with the world's highest birth.
People used to walk up to me and tell me what a great job I was doing.
Just when you thought Ollie Mania had finally died, brace yourself for the Oliver North video.
Do you solemnly swear that in the testimony...
It's called Oliver North Memo to History. 6 days of dramatic congressional testimony boiled down to only 90 minutes. The best of Ollie, preserved for posterity.
I would say that this video cassette has it all. I mean, it's got his wit, his charm, his passion, his compassion, his defiance, and that is what the American people want, and I think that's what they get.
MPI Home Video in South Suburban Oak Forest created the cassette. 5 editors worked 5 days, 18 hours a day to condense North's testimony. Already, 100,000 copies have reportedly been shipped.
We've been getting calls from France, England, Australia, all over the world.
The producers of the Ollie North video hope to sell as many as 250,000 copies at $20 each. But then again, no one ever said patriotism couldn't be profitable. Derek Blakely, Channel 5 News.
Oliver North's video should hit the stores here in Chicago sometime this week.
Meanwhile, Gloria Steinem says...
in New York and large metropolitan areas. Anybody that has a brush with violence or has thought about violence is going to want to view this tape.
The tape sells for $39.95.
Fearing he was about to be robbed and beaten, Getz opened fire with an unlicensed .38 caliber handgun.
Using documentary-style techniques, it retells the facts of the case, but focuses on the actual tape of Getz's confession.
I was vicious. My intent was to kill him.
Advertisements for the Getz tape have run on a Times Square billboard. Others are scheduled for subway stations. But many subway riders say they're not interested.
It's definitely wrong. I wouldn't go for it. I wouldn't buy the video.
I have interest in music, not in this stuff which I read in the papers.
Getz himself wants no part of the tape either. His attorney is considering a lawsuit against the producers.
I think we can go to court and probably stop these people from disseminating and distributing Mr. Getz's agony. That's not entertainment. It should not be classified as entertainment. It's a violation of his own personal civil liberties, and it's something that should be stopped.
But despite the possibility of a lawsuit, when contacted by CNN, Getz laughed off the videotape, saying, "I'm used to being commercialized." Tim Ullinger, CNN, New York.
Headline Sports is next.
Again, an Oak Forest home video firm obtained tape of the broadcast from ABC, duplicated it and packaged it, and started shipping it to stores today.
MPI Home Video was also involved in distributing the Bears hit video, which delivered a lot less to charity than many would have hoped. There was no legal battle here because Super Bowl Shuffle was performed for the cameras with releases signed by the performers and rights granted to the producers and distributors. Democratic Convention was another story. Free to all to broadcast as they saw fit. Among those who covered the event, ABC Television. Among the events covered, Jackson's speech.
I was born in the slum, but the slum was not born in me. And it wasn't born in you.
and you can make it.
The first 31,000 tapes with a list price of $14.95 were shipped today, with MPI Video of Oak Forest hoping they'll do better with this one than they did with a similar tape they produced of Oliver North's speeches. But both, they emphasize, were quite legal.
We do sell it, and yes, we do make a profit. But a video cassette is a legitimate medium for news dissemination.
Jesse Jackson had gathered his national staff and most prominent supporters for a planned meeting in Chicago today, and while independent legal experts tell Eyewitness News that ABC was within its rights to provide the material and MPI to produce and sell the tape, Jackson is still upset.
Even if the company had approached us and offered us a relationship, it would have been at least courteous. But this attempt to just exploit my family, of course, is not right.
Network news operations routinely sell videotape of news events they've broadcast. Independent legal experts tell us that since ABC News had the right to air the material and copyrighted the broadcast, then its news library also had the right to sell it for other use. Jackson still believes it's wrong for others to make a quick buck on his labor, and morally he may be right. Legally, he may not be. Floyd?
Jackson wants continued Secret Service protection.
His campaign has requested it, Floyd, and it's been bucked up from the Treasury Department right to the White House, because according to current law, the Treasury Department cannot, which controls the Secret Service, can no longer on its own volition grant that request to Jackson. It's got to go right to the president. So the decision, as we understand, is now being made by President Reagan. It's expected tomorrow or the day after.
And I suspect that they'll probably continue it.
Well, there seems to be little downside in continuing. It'll cost some money, but who's going to criticize the president for continuing? On the other hand, if he says no, it could appear vindictive and very partisan from a political standpoint.
Thank you, Jay. Mayor Sawyer received an official...
Have the courtesy to speak of a business relationship. It's piracy, and it's unfair.
We react very strongly against anybody accusing us of video piracy. What we are doing is releasing legitimate news on video cassette format. We license the footage legitimately from one of the networks, and any suggestion of impropriety on our parts is way off base.
MPI markets other tapes of current and historic events. Its sale of the Bernard Goetz story also brought threats of legal action. The company is confident, though, of its right to put Jesse Jackson's speech on store shelves. Ironically, his mentor is one of their precedents.
As we have put out Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech, we put out the speeches of John F. Kennedy, of Churchill, of Roosevelt.
But Jackson's attorney told me in a telephone interview that even if Jesse Jackson wanted to sell tapes of his own speech, he'd have to deal with the Democratic National Committee, that the party owns the rights to anything conveyed through its convention. And what does Jesse own? The head of the Illinois Bar Association says if it ever does get to court, the Reverend Jackson could find himself once again breaking new ground.
But here we're talking about using his likeness for the commercial profit of someone else. And I think that's a question that really hasn't been resolved in this state yet.
MPI Home Video says they felt it would be undignified to approach the Reverend Jackson about sharing in the profits from sales of the videotape.
Robin, Democratic presidential candidate Michael Dukakis and running mate Lloyd.
More and more people are relying on videotape machines for their entertainment. Some magazine publishers are finding that print is passé.
They combine the latest in video technology with the standard magazine format. They're called video magazines, and they're something that the consumer is going for.
They're doing pretty well for themselves, yeah. They're selling in fairly substantial numbers. There seems to be a lot of public interest in the product.
And maybe that's because of the way that its producers are able to treat the product.
We're not bound by the same regulations that broadcast television and cable are operating under. So therefore it can be uncensored, there are no commercial interruptions, and you can deal with the topic really in depth.
Add to that the fact that they're easy to watch and cover topics that are quite often hard to find on conventional TV, like high fashion and heavy metal rock and roll, and you have a winner, particularly with kids.
The kids know how to utilize the technology, and they're more open. And so when you say, well, what is a video magazine? Kids already know.
But adults are a little more skeptical, and in particular, the video magazine's price, which is considerably more expensive than its print counterpart. So to lure the consumer, they offer subscriptions and are beginning to find new ways to drop the price. thus making them more attractive, which in turn increases sales.
But while the newfound video magazine may be headed in the right direction, for traditional print magazine fans, there's not really a whole lot to worry about because, as you well know, the bottom line for consumer products here in the United States is pricing. And when it comes to that, the old Reliable has a big leg up on its competition. From the city's near north side, Mike Chilinas, Channel 2 News.
Michael tells us that a new video magazine about celebrities called Persona is going to come out in supermarkets all around the country that will retail for about $4.95. That's really pretty good. But where will they put the headlines? You know, as you go through the cash register in the supermarket.
Yes, Ivana found in sinkhole. Right.
See you at 10.
See you at 10. Good night.
We'll be taking video stores by storm. Channel 5's Derek Blakely explains.
You've already heard a lot from Norman Schwarzkopf, war general, war hero.
If it had been our intention to take Iraq, if it had been our intention to destroy the country, if it had been our intention to overrun the country, we could have done it unopposed.
And you've seen plenty of Stormin' Norman in action, in the field, with his troops. Now, coming soon to a video store near you, it's Schwarzkopf, How the War Was Won, a video phenomenon that began almost as soon as Norman's triumphant news conference was over.
We had 800 phone calls between ABC and MPI asking if we were going to put it out. So we knew that this was something special, that this spoke to some impulse in the nation, and we were going to satisfy that.
Almost immediately, editors at MPI's Oak Forest headquarters began editing the news conference for video, using tape supplied by ABC News.
Good morning, MPI. May I help you?
And just as soon, the orders began flowing in.
In just the first 7 days, we've had orders for over 80,000 units. We're in a particular time of euphoria regarding the war. This happens to be a souvenir of the war.
It's the need, no doubt, to celebrate victory, but MPI is celebrating too, anticipating the possible sale of some 200,000 copies.
This is a phenomenon, so it's, you know, it's almost a pet rock on video.
MPI Video insists it's selling history, not just profiting from the war, but Iraqi refugees and children will be profiting too. A portion of MPI's earnings from the video are being donated to Iraqi relief efforts. Derek Blakely, Channel 5 News.
The video will cost $19.98, and some say they expect it to sell better than the video of the different kind of hero did. Oliver North.
A Mobile, Alabama woman is thanking 911 operators for saving her life.
And surprised by the response.
Good morning, MPI. May I help you?
Within 7 days, orders for more than 80,000 tapes had poured in, and that may be just scratching the surface.
We believe that once it gets out there, and the American public knows that it's out there, that we could probably sell between 250,000 and 500,000 units, within 60 days.
That means Stormin' Norman could be as big a video smash as the Super Bowl Shuffle. And why not? Vince Lombardi said winning is the only thing. And Schwarzkopf coached the first big American win in a very long while. Derek Blakely, Channel 5 News.
On Wall Street today, the stock market up and down.
War press conference called Schwarzkopf, How the War Was Won. The video was marketed by MPI Video. That's the same company that sold the Bears football classic Super Bowl Shuffle. A company salesman says Stormin' Norman's tape is a hot seller with many memorable moments, like the general's opinion of Saddam Hussein as a military commander.
He is neither a strategist, nor is he schooled in the operational art, nor is he a tactician, nor is he a general, nor is he as a soldier. Other than that, he's a great military man. I want you to know that.
We have shipped over 100,000 units, and that's really in less than 2 weeks of soliciting the title.
MPI has set the suggested retail price for this bit of Gulf War history at $19.95.
20 bucks, huh?
I don't think any of it goes to Mr. Schwarzkopf either.
Really?
I don't think so. So, Dan,
yeah,
how's the weather shaping up? It was really nice and warm today. People could go to the park.
It turned out okay.